Hello and welcome to Tara's Daily Insight. My name is Mitchell and it is Monday, May 6th, 2013, and this is Tara's Daily Insight and the Open Door. Thank you for stopping by and watching, listening, viewing this. So I'm going to dive right in. Oh, three of Wands is jumping out. We'll see if that card comes back up. So cut, shuffle, and our card for today is going to be the Knight of Cups. So oftentimes in my readings, the knights are they're faceless people in these cards because it's not about who they are, it's about who rules them. So they oftentimes just kind of do what they're told, get things done. They're quite fast, impetuous. I think that's a correct use of the word. And lightning speed. They don't think too much about it. They just bolt and go. Sometimes they might be perceived as immature. Now the cups are things that are emotional matters of the heart. So I would say this card can often represent a either masculine or feminine person, because cups are feminine, but knights typically are masculine characters. But this can definitely represent someone who doesn't think too much about it, but just acts off of their emotions and steps into drama and other things very easily. I am actually seeing drama at work, and it does feel feminine. Not that a man can't be that dramatic queen at work. But I definitely feel like there's someone at work who is, and I'm going to say what I hear, that is playing on your last nerve. And last night on our Blog Talk Radio show, we had so many people that wanted to continue to dance the dance. And I'm going to call it the dense dance. Because what it means for me when I say that is people want to continue to dance in the drama, to play into the woe is me of other people, and that just brings you back down into that dense energy, where if you want to expand and grow, then you want to move into the higher vibration and the lighter energy, if you will. So when people are, if they're commenting on their Facebooks and it's just more negative and dense and lower vibration, don't step into it. You might think about even just deleting or hiding the comment on your page, so you don't have to deal with it, or even get rid of them as a friend on Facebook. Just quietly let them go. But they might come back. And then people around you, it is more difficult, I think, if someone's standing in front of you and they're going, oh, my life is this, my life is that. And the moment you start even going, even with the head nod, you are in agreement with them. You are stepping into that energy. I've tried to find a fine line, especially at work, because these are people that I work with, and we're supposed to stay real happy and congruent at work. That's not a good use of the word. But I'll just, if they're saying something along the negative lines, I will often say, I understand what you're saying, not acknowledging, accepting, or agreeing with them. I might even say, well, for me, I try to maintain a positive outlook, or for me, to let a little bit of insight into them. But sometimes people don't want to hear it. We had a lot of people on our radio show. Yes, we'll have a TV show soon. On our radio show last night that were recoiling at some of the information that Team Spirit and the boys was giving Jamie, Evan, and I to give to these people. The moment you have a moment of, but wait, no, I am different, and the moment you have that recoil is often the moment you need to stop and go, why did I just want to pull back from that? Why did I just want to defend myself? Why did I just want to argue my case for staying in drama, staying in this space? Because it's usually a big red flag for you and your ego that something's shifting, changing, and expanding. So just stop and pause. I'm not saying, believe what they have to say, but there's a reason that you recoiled. So hold on to that. There's the message for today. That's almost the open door message. We'll see if it continues as I shift over. So enjoy that with our Knight of Cups today, and I will see you in just a moment in the open door. Hello, and thank you for continuing to watch or joining me now in the open door. I am Mitchell. And I want to say something funny because I just remembered it in the quiet time between here and Tara's Daily Insight. You know I'm coming for you, Starbucks. I even booked a cruise to Alaska, and guess where we leave from? Seattle. And the hotel that I booked is going to be like a half a mile from the original Starbucks at Pike's Place. I've never been there. I've always jokingly called it Mecca. So Fabian says, "Oh, you're going to be so disappointed. It's a tiny little hole in the wall." I said, "I'm familiar with that. It's a very small, little, tiny place." But so I'm very excited about going there. Set the intention one day that I would be there, and here I am going there. So very excited about that. So yes, kind of continuing, the dancing the dance message that I spoke of in Tara's Daily Insight. And last night, like I said, we had a lot of guests on the show. You can listen to the show at Blog Talk Radio, Jamie the Psychic and the boys. And just we had a lot of people that, we even said everybody's pulling back. Everybody's, they it's like they didn't want to accept the messages and stuff that came through. Which is not the case. We usually have maybe 1 out of 10 to 15, but so many. And my thought was, which I said on the air, was that's because there's a lot on the other side of that change. There's a lot on the other side of the door, that a big movement, a big shift. So people are going to really recoil and want to hold on to that comfort zone because it is familiar. They're going to want to stay tethered to the riverbank in that familiar space that they know, rather than releasing it and flowing into the unknown. So there was a lot of fear, is what it boils down to, in these people, even in me. There's even yesterday I spoke a lot of fear with a couple of my clients that I had, just about, ending a connection, to someone that I see maybe once a month. It's funny because of all I do and all I teach, I still am worried, what will they think if I no longer use their services on a monthly basis? And, I even got mad at myself because I thought, well, I could lie my way out of this and not have to use their services on a monthly basis. And I thought, well, that's not what I want to do either. I want to be open, honest, and upfront and authentic. So, it's just it's a little tiny thing that I'm working through, but it's got big ramifications. I know that because on the other side of the door is much more freedom, much more truth, much more authenticity for me as I move forward. So, not only am I a spiritual teacher and all the other things that run by on the screen, but I'm still a student, still absolutely learning and growing. And, every person that sits in front of me as a client or at work that I manage, I am a student of theirs, and I imagine they're probably some way, shape, or form a student of mine. I just was shown something else, and I want to bring this up because I spoke of this yesterday with some of my clients that I had. When you need to have a conversation with someone, if they're passed on, or it's a scary, tough conversation to have, or maybe being in their presence is just very unnerving, or they won't be in your presence, do what I call, and that's just like have a higher self to higher self conversation. So find yourself in a quiet, meditative place, and just what I do is walk through a door, find a quiet place, but make sure that, and what I'm being told to tell you is make sure that there's a moment where you're walking down a path, walking through a door. So you consciously have a shift in dimensions, if you will. And once you get to that place, call in the higher self of the person that you want to talk to. And just kind of in your mind, use your imagination and just ask permission. And if they reach out to you, take your hand, move to you, or say, yes, I agree, then great. Have a great conversation. If they move away, repel, recoil, or stand at a distance, then take the opportunity just to speak at them about what's on your heart rather than try to force a conversation. Because if you force it, I feel like you might, I'm being told you might, manufacture the conversation. But then have these crucial conversations, higher self to higher self. It's your higher self, but you're more in control and lucid. And then just work things out. I have done this before with people. I've done it with Fabian, my partner. Just connected with him, reassured him that I love him, I care about him, and that I want our relationship to grow. I want to understand his life, his work, and he please understand mine. And allow our home to be happy and love filled, and I've literally seen hours later the change. I've even asked, because sometimes it's hard for people closest to us to learn anything from us, especially if we're trying to teach them with our will, with our directive. Meaning, hey, come here, I want to tell you something. This is what you do wrong. This is what you need to learn. So that's very much forcing on them. I have learned that Fabian and others learn so much just by watching and listening. So that's great that you allow that to happen. But also, when you go higher self to higher self, ask for angels, their guides, books, song lyrics. Ask for things to be put into the path of the other person that would help them grow in the way that you think, because then that way you're just kind of placing the energy out there. And then it'll come back in the way that it should. Because if you think one thing and that one thing is really not what needs to be for them, it's not going to happen. You're not forcing it on them. So just connect higher self to higher self and ask for guidance and help along the way. And it's just a great way to kind of connect to people, and even to your own higher self. This is where you can go and ask for your angels and your guides to come in, bring that song lyric to change your heart, bring that book to change the direction of your path and your life. So all that being said, thank you very much for listening to The Open Door, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.